Yes, hello, and welcome back to Spoilercast, the show where we talk about movies, and we're not afraid to spoil anything because it's the Spoilercast, and the movie came out a little while ago, so hopefully people already seen it. But if you haven't, spoiler warning. And as always, I have my illustrious co-host with me, my sister Rebecka.
Hello there.
Yes, and we're actually gonna record this episode of Spoilercast live, which we don't usually do. The reason for that is because we usually record this ahead of time on Sundays, but my weekend was very very exhausting, so I just didn't have time on Sunday. So instead, instead of me editing this, we're just gonna do it live, and it'll be up on YouTube instantaneously.
With and all.
Yeah, with the intro and everything. And we should
and
say
as usual.
Yeah, oh, yeah, of course, as usual.
I mean, we're not sponsored, but if Monster catches this,
yeah,
we wouldn't mind a 6-pack or so.
Yeah,
4-pack or whatever they come in.
I don't know. As long as you send us a couple cans, we're fine with that.
We're happy with that.
Yeah. But in this episode of Spoilercast, we are gonna talk about the Fast and Furious spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw.
I think the complete title is the Fast and Furious presents
Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah. Of course.
At least in some countries.
Yeah, but I think
it might be different. I'm not sure.
I think the title is. No, it is Fast and Furious, because it was on the screen, said Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That's true. Like we usually do, what was your initial opinion of the movie?
Initially, it was okay, kind of good action movie. Was not a Fast and Furious. It was more of a buddy cop movie. But
yes.
If you take away the part where it says Fast and Furious, it was a good movie. It still had the action you were expecting, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't much else, though.
That's the same thing. I've been writing my review, which usually comes up before we do the spoiler cast. But this was watch this on a Friday, and I don't upload during weekends unless it's like a trailer reaction because they're so easy to make. That's usually my time off from making YouTube videos. So this was at its earliest. I could have had it up today if we weren't going to do a spoiler cast. But spoiler cast is on Tuesdays. So my people don't know my actual thoughts on this movie yet. But like you said, it's a good action movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, writing the script, I couldn't really find anything in depth to say about it. It's like, some good action back and forth.
That's
little too long, maybe. I mean, there's no deep insights into this movie. It's really just a very very standard action movie with some very charming leads.
And I didn't think it had any downtime or dead time, basically, though. So I mean,
no,
it was pretty good length. I mean, it all had content that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't this needed to cut out, or I fell asleep during the middle, like I do with some other movies. It definitely didn't overstay its welcome. It's just at 2 hours and 15 minutes, it was a little long, maybe. They could have shortened it somehow. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where they could have shortened it, but just a little bit. It was a little long,
I guess. Yeah.
But like you said, it's definitely not a Fast and Furious movie. It felt different, and I'm not sure.
The first couple of scenes maybe did fit a bit.
Maybe, but I'm not sure exactly what it was. maybe there is something to this whole thing that Tyrese and Vin Diesel were a little grumpy about, that the Fast and Furious magic really has to do with all the members of the family.
Could be.
Because I mean, this, like I said, this wasn't a bad movie, but you could definitely feel that it wasn't a Fast and Furious movie. It was a Hobbs and Shaw movie. And maybe I know a few things that I picked up on pretty quickly, to why I thought it wasn't a Hobbs and Shaw movie. It's definitely that it's less.
You mean
focused...
a Fast and Furious movie, right?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Why it's not really a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
Why it's a spin-off. It's partly because there's less focus on the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like vehicles aren't like part of the equation.
There's one awesome vehicle, basically.
Yeah, it's the bad guy's motorbike. That was pretty cool. But it's the only vehicle that stands out. Otherwise, vehicles in this movie was just ways for our heroes to get around, basically.
Yeah.
There was no, like, gratuitous shots of the cars, like, oh, yeah, going through the desert, and flashy cars. Well, there were flashy cars, of course, but there was no gratuitous shots of them.
No.
And there wasn't a lot of, like, car action. I mean, think of these scenes in... like the New York scenes in Fast and Furious 8, when they're all using the spear guns on top of the cars to catch Vin Diesel, and they're actually fighting with their cars. There's nothing like that in this. The cars are just there for driving in this movie.
They're transport.
Exactly. It's definitely more focused on like regular action, fighting, shooting, running stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing, and also another thing was that a lot of the action felt less real somehow. Not towards the end, but definitely in the beginning, when they're in London and when they're in was it Ukraine, where the facility was? I don't remember.
No, Russia.
Russia, maybe. I don't know. There was a lot of special effects. It was a lot of like CGI stuff that really stuck out. I think you can definitely see that it was fake, and at least in the last few Fast and Furious movies, I know they've tried really hard to do as much of it for real as possible. Like in Fast and Furious 7, when they jump out of the plane, they actually did that. I mean, they didn't jump out of the plane and then land them perfectly in the movie, but they jumped out of the plane with their cars, and then in a separate take, they landed with their cars on the mountain. Yeah. They actually did that.
Yeah.
And the same with the whole chase in Fast and Furious 8 across the frozen lake. That was actually done for real. Not the submarine, but the rest was for real.
They were actually driving across the frozen lake, yes.
Yeah, and you can notice that. You can definitely notice when stunts are made for real. That's what makes the John Wick movies so amazing to watch, because it's actually happening.
Yeah.
So I did feel a little bit of detachment during the action. It was still fun action, but it wasn't as spectacular as in the Fast and Furious movies.
No. And some of it was slightly too incredible.
Yeah, that too.
Of that, like in the beginning in London, when they jump out of the building and go down the wall, the last 50 meters or so, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's character, he basically just leaps and lands on a car with another dude.
Yeah.
And he isn't even, he doesn't even look like he's hurting at all. He just stands up, walks away like nothing, and then keeps fighting. That was a bit... Yeah. You should at least wince or something.
But he's The Rock.
He's not
you can't really
A-Rock.
do that.
He's The Rock, not A-Rock. So,
Maybe they're saving that because every time they fight Idris Elba, he does actually get his ass beat. So they were saving all his punishment for then.
I guess.
For those scenes. Because Idris Elba, he pummels both Jason Statham and The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson. Which is kind of fun because we rarely see those two get beaten up in movies nowadays. They're always, the heroes that beat up other people. But here they were fighting a superior foe, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, they were fighting an enhanced So I
Yeah,
mean,
he's like genetically and mechanically enhanced.
hmm
And that was another thing that definitely didn't feel like a Fast and Furious thing. Even though the Fast and Furious villains have become more and more fantastical, especially in the last one, in number 8,
yeah,
Cypher. But they've never been superhuman. Sure, they've used some like technology and stuff that doesn't really exist, but you can kind of buy it. Like the whole scene in number 8 with the zombie cars. That
mm,
makes sense because they're using this thing that, like most cars nowadays, can be remotely controlled.
yeah.
And they use that against the Fast and Furious crew, like to create this like tidal wave of zombie cars that's just attacking them.
Yeah, like you said, it isn't incredible in that way that it seems too unreal. It looks like something you could possibly do in the near future.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
enhancing humans with, I don't know, robot
Yeah,
spines and stuff, that seems like not just replacing the spines or parts of it with metal, making it robot.
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
a bit
like
much.
in the Fast and Furious movies, if you just bend reality a little bit, it actually
Mm,
works.
yeah.
So it's over the top, but it's not fantastical. Here, yeah, he is basically superhuman. He even
He's
says
basically
that.
a robot.
Yeah, and he says that in the movie on Black Superman,
Hmm
because that's what he is. He's a superhuman. And that's the whole
Yeah.
thing with the bad guys in this, the corporation or what, the cult, whatever you call it, like Etion. They
Ah,
want to create basically an Ubermensch, which is kind of funny, and they want to eradicate all the weak humans. So basically, they're like techno
Nazis.
Nazis. I didn't think of
Modern
that.
techno Nazis.
Yeah, I didn't think of that until now. It's like, ugh, yikes. They're techno Nazis. They don't care about like your skin color or whatever, but they still want to eradicate the weak so the strong can grow. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not good.
Not good, not good. Um, and that's also part of like separating this from the Fast and Furious, like that it was actually like uh it was super, not supernatural, but it was superhuman, and tech we hadn't seen before. It felt more fantastical than a Fast and Furious villain or a Fast and Furious movie. Like
It even
imagine,
felt like it was like more in the future than the regular Fast and Furious movies.
yeah,
Just
almost,
looking at like the tech the sister had at home, like with her desk sliding out and the computer
yeah,
coming out of the desk and all that stuff.
yeah. That kind of stuff exists in the Fast and Furious movies, but it's always like FBI or the military that
Yeah.
has it. Now she had it in her home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're
Or
definitely going for a
the
different
gloves
vibe. Oh,
for activating the weapons and stuff like
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. So they're definitely going for another vibe in these movies. But I guess
Yeah.
it's for um for setting the movies apart, like saying like these are the Fast and Furious movies, and these are the Hobbs and Shaw movies. They're
Mm-hmm.
more over the top. You can almost call them. I mean, they're not that, but they're like spy movies because they're secret agents, basically.
Well, yeah, like I said, buddy cop movie.
Yeah, doing covert ops stuff. They're not
Hmm
Fast and Furious movies, which are in
No.
a genre of them of their own.
Yeah, but I think there was another part of the another reason for the technology to be such a big part. Because
Huh?
I mean, in the end scene, you had
Right.
the super techs versus the, how do
The
you say
low
this?
tech,
Yeah, the low tech.
like traditional stuff.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
traditionals.
it was to create a juxtaposition for that end battle,
Hmm
where
Yeah.
they go to Samoa to the Rock's or Luke Hobbs' family home, and he gets all his Usos together, his brothers or his family and friends, and they actually fight these super tech people with traditional like Samoan like clubs and sticks and spears,
Yeah.
which is yeah, that's a cool idea to juxtapose it like that. So and it works because they disable the bad guys' weapons, and they
hmm
fight in equal terms. It was a neat idea to, because you have all this high tech stuff all the way through the movie, and then the final battle is just old like muscle cars and sticks and clubs and
Yeah.
fists. That was a fun way of finishing the movie, definitely.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, and but then the final battle is Hobbs and Shaw finally like getting over their differences and fighting as a team which really made me think of like the Marvel movies, or especially the Avengers movies, because every Avengers movie is about we have to put aside our differences and fight like a team. This was exactly that, because they're like giving each other shit all the way through the movie, and in the end, like, oh, teamwork is the only way to defeat this guy, and then do it. Yeah. That stuff does not exist in the Fast and Furious movies because they've always been a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With small fights now and then.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like, well, yeah, that's part of being a family. So yeah, they're
exactly.
a family.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say about this movie, to be honest.
No, I mean, it is a very standard action movie. And like I said in the beginning, like, these are the two most fun characters from the Fast and Furious movies. So I can see why these two are the ones that are getting a spin-off. Because as much as the Fast and Furious fans, me included, don't want to admit it, like, Tyrese and Ludacris and Jordana Brewster and Vin Diesel, they're kind of getting, I mean, they're literally getting older, but the shtick with the Fast and Furious movies is getting a little old.
But that's why because you have 8 movies of it already.
Yes, of course. But I mean, just like Vin Diesel in general, like, I don't watch any movies he is in except for the Fast and Furious movies.
And Triple X.
Well, sure, but there's only really one Triple X movie in the last 17 years, so...
True.
Yeah. And that was a good one, definitely. But he's basically playing Vin Diesel in that one, too.
Yeah. But also, I think another reason for specifically taking Hobbs and Shaw, why their characters stick out so much is because they're quite new.
Yeah.
They've only been in the movies for, what, 2 or 3 movies each?
The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson, was introduced in the 5th one, when they kind of, like, stepped it up. The 5th one was the first really good one. But then he wasn't technically he was like a bad guy, or he was the police trying to hunt them down.
But was he in number 6?
Oh yeah, he was in number 6, because he's someone that he actually recruits them. While they're still technically on the run, he recruits them to stop this new terrorist guy in London, which is Shaw's brother. I don't remember his name. It's not Deckard. Is it Sebastian Shaw? I don't remember.
No, something else.
Yeah. And then in the final scene of that movie, we get a cameo from Jason Statham when he kills Han in that scene from the 3rd movie. And then he is properly introduced in the 7th movie. So he's really only been in 2 movies and then this. Which is kind of fun. Like how quickly they turned him from a villain into a hero. Like, in the 7th movie, he is the most dangerous assassin in the world, and he's hunting them down one by one. Like, he starts with Han, then he goes after whoever it is. I mean, he doesn't manage to kill anyone else, but... and then in the since he's defeated in the 7th one, in the next one they kind of recruit him, and everyone is kind of on board with it. Like in the beginning, it's
is that when they're in prison?
Yeah. Because Dominic betrays them when they're getting that computer thing in the beginning of the movie, because Cypher has already blackmailed him.
Brother's name's Owen.
Owen Shaw, right? And he's played by what's his name?
Luke Evans.
Evans, right? Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's where you remember him from.
Yeah, he's been in more stuff, but it was just because he was in that weird Dracula movie from a few years ago, Dracula Untold. Right, and then in the 8th movie, he is recruited as part of the team, even though he killed one of their like family members in the last movie, or in the 6th, technically in the 6th movie, and he's been hunting them ever since then. They're like, okay, we'll work with you because
I don't remember how they reconcile that.
Do
they?
not really. They're kind of forced to work with him, but then he isn't part of the final fight in the 8th movie. He's not on the ice because he is up on Cypher's plane rescuing Dominic's kid.
All right.
With the girl
brother.
from Rio.
The cop.
Yeah.
Elena?
No. Elena, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun to see her again, because she was technically in part 7, but only in one scene. So it's kind of fun to see her again after the 5th movie. But they kill her off, unfortunately. Yeah, so he kind of redeems himself.
Ups and downs in those movies.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing. When a series goes on for this long, it's like every other like why I don't watch TV shows. When they start like getting married and having children, and then it kind of gets away from the actual story of the movies, and it's more like
when they need to flesh
family
it out
stuff. Yeah, that's when I think like TV shows die, and that's kind of been happening. There's been an ongoing thing in these movies. They've been marrying back and forth. People have died and come back. They have started families. Yeah.
They got over someone who died, and then, oh my God, you're alive. I'm gonna get back with you and screw the other girl.
Yeah, and she had
leave her behind.
And she had amnesia. It's like a soap opera.
Yeah, it is. It's a telenovela. It's Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. And I can see then, because they have said after the 10th movie they're not making anymore, and I hope to God that's true, because so far every movie.
10 Fast and Furious?
10 Fast and Furious, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So Fast and Furious 10 is going to be the last Fast and Furious movie.
So we have 2 more movies to go in that particular franchise.
Yes, and that's why they made this spin-off, because as long as the movies keep making money, and these movies make a lot of money, the last 2 movies have each made over $1 billion.
Not surprising.
No, and they have spent... What was it, like, the combined budget of all these movies, including Hobbs and Shaw, was a little over $1 billion. And they've so far, and Hobbs and Shaw is still playing, it's only made a few hundred million yet, they've made over $5 billion yet. So they're not going to stop making movies just because they decided to only make 10 Fast and Furious movies. So they start a spin-off series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is clever, and it does keep the fans happy in a way, because I mean they do have a specific fans. Yeah.
we know a fan that wasn't super happy about it.
Yeah, well, he's gonna see it again, and we'll see if it changes his mind.
Yeah, and he liked it. He liked it. Yeah. Just didn't want to admit it.
Yeah, mostly. He missed the cars. He wanted fancy cars. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do have a specific fan base. I mean,
very specific and very loyal fan base.
Mm-hmm. Despite anything, basically. I mean, I've not heard of fans boycotting it because of a certain character's death or anything.
No.
Not even when Brian Paul Walker died. Yeah. People were like, no, we can't abandon them because he died in an accident.
No, of course not.
We honor his memory by keep going on.
Watching the movie.
Keep going.
He died making, basically.
Yeah.
And the fans were rewarded with a surprisingly emotional ending to that movie.
Yeah.
You remember that
song still gets me.
Yeah, and we watched that in London at the British premiere. So it's kind of
courtesy of me.
Yeah. Courtesy of you. You were living in London at the time, and I mean, I've never seen so many tough bros flat
literally
out crying, tears. It was wow,
actually kind of magical. It was
it was kind of cool. It brings out emotions in all kind of people.
Yeah, because this movie is, like we said, it has a very strong, devoted fan base.
Yeah, because it has played up this. It hasn't always been about family. They started the whole family thing with the 5th one. It was there before, but it wasn't. They didn't say family 15,000 times like they do in the newer movies.
No, they mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Mostly at the end when they were having the dinner, because they always had a barbecue at the end.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Brian became a crucial part of the family that they actually called it family.
Exactly, with number 4.
But before that, they were
in a star.
La Familia, at least. But
yeah,
that was because Dominic had been friends with most of them for ages.
Yeah, and that's like in a way that's kind of emotional manipulation because the movies aren't that good. This isn't a franchise that should have been going on for 20 years almost, with now 9 movies and another one coming up next year.
But I understand, though. I mean,
sure. They're doing it the right way.
Because it's action, and they always step it up a bit. You have fancy cars, hot girls, good music, cool guys.
I wrote that exactly in my script for the review. Cool dudes, hot ladies, fast cars, and awesome music.
Yeah, what else do you need? And then, the stunts always get bigger and bigger. The storyline does evolve. In the beginning, you had more of a specific storyline for each movie. Now you have sort of a running storyline that evolves throughout the movies, which isn't as good. I do prefer the first couple of ones.
I'm actually the other way around.
You are?
The first couple of movies, like Fast and Furious, The Fast and the Furious, and Too Fast, Too Furious, they kind of take themselves a little too serious. But then the third one is, it's the cool one because it's the young kids. They're drifting in Tokyo.
Yeah.
That one's an anomaly, but it's honestly one of my favorite movies. It's the first movie that Justin Lin directed. I think he definitely understood the franchise the best. That's why I'm glad he's coming back for the ninth movie.
It doesn't feel like it fits in though because none of the characters are in it. It's just Han. But that's because
we didn't even know who Han was when that movie first came out.
No, true. And they don't. I mean, they mentioned Dom. Wait, he's in the end.
He's
scene,
in
right?
he's in one scene at the end just to
where he's like, oh yeah, you're a cool guy. Thing is, Tokyo Drift would have fit better in the franchise if the main kid from Tokyo Drift got to join the crew when he got back to America. But they didn't spin on that, and that's a shame, I think.
Yeah, that's probably the only big misstep in this franchise to not bring in Lucas Black's character. I don't remember his name. He's in one scene in Fast and Furious 7 because they're wrapping up Han's storyline
right. Yeah, so they call him.
Yeah, and they go to the garage. It's actually from the end of Fast and Furious 3 when he races against Dominic.
Right.
It's that scene, because they've always said that Fast and Furious 3 takes place in the future.
True.
They have flip phones and listen to 90s music still.
In Tokyo.
In Tokyo, yeah, but it's a different world.
Technically
the Far East, I don't know.
Country ever, place ever.
Yeah. But it works. It definitely
works. And in that way, maybe it is weird to bring in the kid, Luke, whatever his name was.
I don't remember. The actor is Lucas Black.
Yeah, Lucas. Because he, like you said, it's in the future technically. So when would he be fitting in? After Han dies, which is in number
7.
Number 7.
He would have been in
number 8.
No, he's in number 7. He could have followed Dom back to America.
Well, yeah, and then continue to be in number 8, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe that would have felt like they replaced Paul.
Well, they kind of did that as well in number 8 with Scott Eastwood's character. He didn't really have too much to do in that movie, but he was supposed to be the white guy replacement, basically.
Yeah, so then it would have made more sense if they brought in Lucas Black.
Yeah, because it was at least a character we knew about.
Mm-hmm.
But still.
That is basically the only big plot flaw I can think of.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just a bit of a bumpy ride because you get a lot of ups and downs and a lot of back and forth. But the storyline does keep a pretty straight line, and you do tie up all loose ends, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially towards the end of this franchise now, especially number 7 and number 8, they definitely know that what they're making is it's a ridiculous franchise. It's already so over the top. I mean, let's start with the 5th one, when they drag the vault through the streets of Rio de Janeiro. And after that, just upping it with a plane in the 6th one, the fighter jet and the helicopter in the 7th one, the fucking nuclear submarine in the 8th one. They know what they're making is ridiculous movies.
What the hell are they going to do in number 9?
Yeah, they know
Spaceships?
Probably, yeah, they have to go to space eventually. They have to.
It's like a Jason X.
Yeah, when you get desperate enough, you go into space. Yeah, but
Wouldn't surprise me.
they know what they're making is ridiculous, over the top, just stupid entertainment. So they're not trying to be serious about it.
No.
I mean, Vin Diesel still thinks that he makes like serious movies, and that's why they're not doing a spin-off with Dominic. They're doing Hobbs and Shaw instead.
Yeah, but also, like I said, he's been the main dude for 8 movies. He's gonna be the main dude for another 2 movies.
Yeah.
He is technically the main dude.
Oh yeah, definitely
all the movies. So he can't have a spin-off because this is his spin-off.
Sure. But I mean,
and yeah, it wouldn't make sense to keep a pretty stone-faced dude as a spin-off.
Yeah. But when the Fast and Furious franchise ends, Hobbs and Shaw is gonna go on, probably, at least for a few movies.
A couple of movies,
because you have some much more charismatic leads in that movie.
Plus, I mean, they did leave it with a cliffhanger, so.
Oh yeah, and they kind of set up a whole new team in this one. Like you have the I don't remember her name, the like super duper master thief that gets them all their equipment. That is like a former flame of Shaw. I don't know.
The chicks in in Russia with that got him everything, running around in suit pants and bras.
Yeah, they were badass master thieves.
Yeah, they were actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
All played. Every single one of them are supermodels.
Oh, you recognize them?
Yeah, a few of them.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
One of them's Victoria's Secret model.
Oh, okay. But they also set up, of course, which was so much fun. Ryan Reynolds as a colleague of Dwayne Johnson, which was very fun because these movies have always felt like even though they have like big budgets and they bring in a lot of money, they've never felt like part of like mainstream Hollywood, if you know what I mean. They've never had any
keep to themselves.
Yeah, they've always kept to themselves and had their own stars. I mean, like I said, like Vin Diesel and Tyrese and Ludacris, they're not in other movies. They're just in Fast and Furious movies. It's been very insular. So to see an actor from another studio, 20th Century Fox, who's played in comic book movies, he's technically now part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not the character, but the actor. It felt like, regular Hollywood like creeping in on the Fast and Furious franchise. And then, because of Dwayne Johnson, you have a cameo by, Kevin Hart.
Oh, yeah.
Which they're kind of setting him up as like a tech guy, because he gets them a jet plane and a 747. Yeah, he's probably going to get more
planes in another movie.
Yeah. Because I don't think they're just cameos. They're definitely setting them up to be in more movies. Maybe
specifically Ryan Reynolds, yes.
Yeah.
It seems like they've worked before together.
Oh,
somehow.
Yeah. Maybe Kevin Hart will just do like 1 or 2 scenes for every movie, but still.
I bet he's going to get like, all of a sudden, we're calling you in, we need you on a mission. He's going to be like Tyrese, basically.
Or Ludacris, who's more of a tech engineer guy.
No, but I mean like the funny guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely.
Maybe a combo of both of those. The tech guy with the funniness being like, ooh, I'm the, comic relief. You don't really need comic relief when you have The Rock and them. I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
It definitely added some levity that you don't really have in Fast and Furious. Like, once again, back to Vin Diesel, who takes himself a little too serious. He thinks that he's still making like serious moves with those. Like his plot line in number 8 is super serious. I mean, they kill his girlfriend, kidnap his child, and it's all dark, and he's screaming and crying. And then of course you have the jokey stuff with Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson, but it's not like jokey in the same way as Kevin Hart, who's a bona fide comedian. Yeah. As well as an actor.
Yeah, so all of the Hobbs and Shaw movies are going to be a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, and that's why this also felt a little more like jokey, over the top with the action, because they're going for a different kind of over the top feeling for this one.
Yeah.
And and
I'm hoping that the Usos will be in it more.
Yeah, I
his
hope so too.
brothers.
Because
At least the mechanic guy or the other, what's his name? The other wrestler.
I don't know his real name. Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't even say. He says "woo" in one scene. He doesn't have a speaking part.
No.
It's kind of weird that they picked him. It's probably because he's friends with Dwayne Johnson, because he is not a very popular wrestler. Like, because they tried. I don't know if you know this. When they introduced him as a wrestler, he didn't have to to fight his way to the top. He was introduced as a new hero character in the WWE franchise.
Okay.
And the fans just did not accept that. Like,
no.
For the first,
I don't know. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know how long. He's been wrestling for a few years now, but there are like clips from his early fights where people are they're booing him so hard that he can't even overpower them with a microphone. It's kind of like, I feel a little sad for him.
Yeah.
Because he was like put in that situation. So I'm glad he's in this movie. Maybe he'll turn out to be a fun character. Maybe, I don't know.
Another Dwayne Johnson in a way.
I don't think so.
not
don't think
really,
he's as
but
charming. But I know what you.
They have similar looks.
Mm.
They're both big, brawny, brown guys.
Yeah,
They are.
They are.
And I mean, I guess he was partially involved in this because he could pass for a brother.
Sure.
And I guess the other, like I said, the other brother, the mechanic, he's probably going to be in it a bit more.
Yeah, I hope he gets back, because I love, his name is Cliff Curtis, the actor.
Oh, yeah.
I really like him. And he you don't really see him that much nowadays. He does a lot of TV and small, like, bit parts. But he's a great actor, so I hope he comes back, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plays the mechanic.
Yeah, of course. And then you have, was it Hattie Shaw? Hattie?
Yeah,
Hattie. And of course, their mother.
Yeah, she was
Shaw?
in Mama Shaw. She was in Fast and Furious 8, and that's why I feel like they should try to bring in Luke Evans again, because I like him as an actor as well.
Because he was okay at the end, right?
Yeah, he is recruited by Deckard Shaw to help him with the attack on the plane.
Right.
So
that's the last time we see him. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't actually kill him in number 6.
No, he just ends up in a medically induced coma or something.
Yeah, and then he works with them technically in episode 8. Episode 8? Oh. So yeah, if they were able to redeem Deckard Shaw, they should definitely be able to redeem his character as well. What was his name?
Owen
Shaw, right? Owen Shaw. Yeah.
So you have Hattie and Owen and Deckard. Weird names.
And Mama Shaw, whatever.
And
her
Mama,
name was.
I don't Mrs. Shaw. I don't know her name is.
Helen Mirren Shaw.
Yeah, yeah. The coolest inmate ever.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe even the Russian doctor. The one who helps them with the nanotech.
No, Idris Elba killed him.
Oh, right, it did.
He snapped his neck, like, just whoop, and went and just kept on going.
I forgot that scene.
Because he was frying all the goons with the flamethrower.
Never mind then. I forgot that part.
I have to ask you though. I don't think that's gonna happen. But Idris Elba's character, don't remember his name. He is just like Deckard Shaw. He has like a past with the characters. But he's turned evil. They don't kill him in the end, so he's still around. So he could be in more movies. Do you think they have a
Doesn't the voice say terminate him?
Well, they shut off all the stuff they put into him and he falls into the ocean. But I mean, we don't literally see him die.
Yeah. And people have survived fires in that franchise, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they have this bad habit of bringing back bad guys and put them in like a semi-good guy role. They've done it with a lot of bad guys from other movies, like Gal Gadot from the beginning. She was working for the bad guy in number 4. Then she became part of the team in number 5 and 6 before she died. Deckard Shaw became a good guy, got his own movie. And even Paul Walker's like FBI nemesis, played by, oh god damn it, Shea Wiggum, who is his like nemesis, FBI nemesis in number 4.
Right. Yeah.
He has a small part in number 5 where he helps Brian get back into America to talk to Braga, the bad guy from number 4.
Yeah, and I mean, even Brian technically starts off as the adversary in a way, because he's the cop who's trying to bust him,
Yeah, exactly.
and then he becomes
And
La Familia.
then he breaks bad in the end, where he helps Dominic escape. Yeah. So, do you think they're gonna bring back Idris Elba? Like, oh, you showed me that Etion was bad, so now I'm gonna help you defeat them. Or do you think he's just a bad guy?
I hope he's just a bad guy.
Yeah. I hope so too, because they can't redeem every character.
People like Idris Elba, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Really?
But that might be...
He's a great actor.
That might be because I have a personal experience.
Oh, right.
He was a douchebag in London.
Talk to him, right?
Yeah, and his assistants.
Yeah.
He was a little douchebag at that event, and I just can't really redeem him because he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
But he seems, actually in interviews as well that I've seen with him, not just because of that one moment I saw him and talked to him very briefly. He's a bit cold and a bit like, yeah, I know I'm better than you.
Okay.
Kind of attitude. And I don't really like that. Okay, I'm sorry if you can hear my cat right now, but he's dying to get in here and disturb me. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, at least now we can put it in the description that we actually talk about our personal experiences with Idris Elba.
I can.
That's good.
No one's gonna understand what. Anyways.
Well, you helped organize an award show that he was...
The London Movie Awards, British Movie Awards. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
where he was nominated.
Yeah. So, but he just came off as kind of a douchebag.
Yeah.
That's really sad because he's such a great actor and he seems nice. I don't know. Oh well.
Yeah. But other than that, also like we said, his character. I mean, the director of Etion. I'm gonna call him director. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah, the leader, the mysterious voice.
Mm-hmm. He does say, terminate him. He is done with him. He's like, yeah, you failed, so I don't want you anymore. So why would I don't know. Even if they bring him back, he's gonna be shut off, so he's not gonna be Black Superman anymore.
No, he's just gonna be a regular guy.
Probably not even that, because he's that enhanced. Parts of him are like switched out to electronics. He might not even function without Etion.
No, that's true. Yeah, and it feels like he's like a different caliber of actor as well. I mean, he's like, I could be wrong, but I think he's been like Academy Award nominated. Yes. And he does like big, like dramatic roles on TV and in movies. He's definitely a little too... Yeah, exactly. A little out of his league.
Yeah,
but I think he got a pretty big paycheck for this, so that's why he did it.
It doesn't feel like his kind of movie. He's probably not gonna want to do another one.
No,
I don't think he does. He ever do sequels?
I don't know.
Not one that like comes to mind at least. He hasn't done that many.
No.
And this is a very sequel-oriented franchise.
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe, I mean, if he agrees to do a second one, he's probably gonna be hooked to do a third one or a fourth one, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think he wants to do that.
I think they're gonna stop with him. I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, that's probably for the better. Like I said, they can't redeem every bad guy. Some bad guys just have to be bad guys.
And he did go completely to the dark side.
Yeah, definitely. He's pretty evil in this movie. Definitely.
He has no problem killing people for being weaker.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Ryan Reynolds says, he stabbed a guy with a brick. How do you stab a guy with a brick? Yeah. That's pretty evil. Before we wrap it up here, just gotta because I recently made a video about the Conjuring cinematic universe, because it technically is a cinematic universe now. It has
Yeah.
different franchises. It has Annabelle, The Conjuring, and the spin-offs, like kind of franchises into one. And I talked a little bit about different cinematic universes and how basically all of them have failed, either like halfway through or even just before they got started. Like the only ones that are really successful so far is the Annabelle or the Conjuring cinematic universe and MCU, of course. But now that, and I didn't count the Fast and Furious into that because it's just been numbered sequels. But now that it has a spin-off, which is still tying in to the main numbered franchise, this is technically a cinematic universe now. Especially since what we discussed after the movie, like the two different plot lines, because they're going to continue with Etion. That's definitely going to be like the main villain in the Hobbs and Shaw movies.
Because they said you're going to see me again. Who I am.
Yeah, exactly. They're definitely. I think they're gonna like come together at the end with the 10th movie. And they're gonna be like part of the same storyline. So it's two different storylines coming together. So it is like a cinematic universe now.
Yeah.
And I have the feeling that they're gonna try to do more spin-offs with other characters. Maybe just 1 or 2 movies or something like that.
Who?
I still think they could make a Ludacris and Tyrese movie.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
I think they could, like especially since Tyrese is such a little whiner, so he'll nag his way to his own movie eventually.
Maybe.
So
only if they bring in Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, and them two having some funny banter together. Yeah.
Those 3 in one movie. Goddamn, Ludacris is gonna lose his mind.
So now we have to count this as a cinematic universe.
Technically, we do. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you're right.
That makes it like one of the most successful ones. Of course, Marvel is much more successful, but
yeah,
it's
because they have 25 movies and 2 series.
Yeah,
3 series.
A lot more.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but this is though a franchise or now a cinematic universe that has, I would say, more like technically better quality, because I like every movie in the franchise.
Yeah.
I don't like every Marvel movie. Far from it.
No.
And they've made their budget back like 5 times over technically. So it is on par, like when you're counting percents. They're as successful as as MCU, and they've been going on for twice as long. It's an almost 20-year-old franchise now. So that's something to just think about. They've actually done what Marvel did and no other cinematic universe did. They took their time. They built their franchise, and now, like 18, 19 years into the franchise, they start widening their scope and making it into a cinematic universe. They didn't do what DC did.
And they've taken their time and make sure every movie is actually good.
Yeah.
Compared to Marvel and DC or.
Even though we don't like every Marvel movie, they still have taken extreme care to make sure that all the movies are like, if you like a Marvel movie, you're gonna like pretty much every Marvel movie. Because they're very uniform, and they built their franchise slowly by making the first like 5 movies leading up to Avengers. Then it really exploded.
But it doesn't have the same feeling.
Well, that's
because it's too big.
Yeah, well, that's different for different people. Like, I am a huge fan of this franchise. I get all giddy when I see the trailers, and I know about all the characters and stuff. Even though that's the kind of stuff I make fun of like Marvel fans for doing. So I get it. It's just that I prefer these kinds of movies over the Marvel movies. That's why I prefer this franchise. So yeah. That's about it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next one, which is coming next year, I think. Fast and Furious 9, which is going to be the return of director Justin Lin, who made 3, 4, 5, and 6. Really looking forward to that.
Yes, indeed.
And we'll see whenever the next Hobbs and Shaw movie drops. This should be like in a couple of years or something. I know that if this
Yeah,
is
maybe they do the new Fast and Furious early next year, and then they do Hobbs and Shaw late next year or something.
I don't know. I just know that Dwayne Johnson is not going to be in Fast and Furious 9 because of
No.
behind the scenes squabbles on number 8.
Yes.
And that's why they made this movie
Understandably.
instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of egos behind the scenes on that movie set.
You have a lot of big leading men
Yeah. Yeah.
that are
Big egos.
kind of diva-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's the girls who like catfight and can't be are divas around each other, but these guys,
No.
they're both big egos and big bodies,
Yeah,
and you don't want them fighting.
No. But he has said that he is probably coming back for number 10. So maybe they will start developing Hobbs and Shaw 2 during next year, and then it'll come out in a couple of years or something.
Yeah.
And we'll do a spoiler cast for that when that happens.
In the future.
Yeah. But until then, be sure to keep your eyes peeled for my proper review of the movie, my spoiler-free review for this movie. Comes out tomorrow. I'm filming it and editing and uploading it tomorrow. We'll be back next week with something. I think we're going to do something Tarantino-ish, because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is coming out pretty soon.
Possibly.
Yeah. And as always, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but then leave some constructive criticism down below. But if you did like it and you want to see more spoiler casts, other podcast live streams, reviews, trailer reactions, I put out stuff every day now. Every day. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell thing so you're always updated to when I release a new video.
Let us know what you think of the movie, specifically Hobbs and Shaw, then, and also the entire universe as it is now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of Fast and Furious, because it's fun to see if other people keep have the same opinions as us, I guess.
Yeah. If they're as big fans as we are of the franchise, that would be fun.
Yeah, because we don't stupid big fans.
Yeah, we don't meet a lot of fans of this series. But yeah, so definitely, always leave your opinion on the movie we talk about in the comments.
We love to read them.
Yes, but until the next time, have a good one.
Bye.